Hello everybody, and welcome back to day 27 of the road to 2K on chess.com. Last time we got ourselves up to 1817, so we're hoping to continue that same momentum as we get going here. And it looks like our opponent today is an 1805 from Indonesia. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to start with c6, playing the Caro-Kann. And I fully expect d4. Our opponent plays f4, which I do feel like I see more from non-EU or non-American players. So after e5, oftentimes one of the moves that you play in this position is knight to h6 to put it onto f5. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to do that. The knight comes out. I think we go ahead. We pin the knight to the queen. And now, it's kind of like we can play a advanced Caro-Kann where they've played f5 for some reason. And what I kind of like here is I think I like takes with the pawn. Let's go ahead, let's play e6. The bishop comes out. Let's play knight to c6. And our idea here is really to try and bring the knight in, not blunder any other pieces here. Queen to b6 might be an option. This is what I was kind of curious, was if this was going to happen. The tempting move is this bishop check. This move is also somewhat tempting, but not as much so. So maybe we'll go with this bishop check first to allow us to castle. The opponent brings the knight out. Let's castle here. And I think in this position we might want to play knight f5, and if bishop takes, we're going to take back with our bishop and kind of let this knight do whatever it wants. So now we have the bishop pair. So ideally we'd like to hang on to it. This bishop is going to end up being quite strong, so something to be mindful of. Our opponent plays h3, and the idea here is after something like g4, this bishop might get lost. And we don't particularly want that to happen. So let's play h6. Our opponent swings the knight back immediately. I think we might have time to play rook over. Do we want bishop back? Couple different ideas here. Is this knight really going anywhere? I don't think so, but let's play a6 just to make sure. Now the bishop comes in. Or I guess now the pawn comes in. Here we could play queen here. I don't think it works yet though. If we take this pawn and they take ours, we can come back, or we can take this pawn. Rook over. Couple different ideas here. I think we play the more sound move. If we play bishop in, we do have knight here and takes, and then we have a bunch of attackers on this pawn. But if we take here, takes, bishop takes, queen here. I don't really know. Maybe we do have queen here. And then after, if takes, we have check, picking up this bishop. And then they can take here. Is there a way to block that I'm missing? I don't see it. So we're going to play queen to h4. We get queen into the position. Here, the tempting move is an immediate capture of this knight. So let's do that. Our opponent takes back. Now I think we play bishop to e4, attacking the queen with tempo. And that hangs this pawn here. Is there a way to punish us for that? I don't see it, so we're going to go with knight f3. He moves back. Now I think here we can actually take with check first. And here we can snap off this knight first. And if rook takes, queen takes. But you have to go in the right sequence here, because you can't take back our queen immediately. And we've essentially just shredded our opponent's position into little pieces. So let's go ahead. Let's try and reroute our knight onto a better square. Really looking at that f5 square, because there's not going to be any easy way to kick us off of it. And this bishop is really the anchor holding everything down. We're going to snap off that pawn. Our opponent's just giving us a pawn there. Knight to h4, check is a threat. And here, I think there's obviously a lot of attackers here. Let's play rook to a to c8, attacking this pawn. If we play king up, are we okay? I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be. And then we're going to play g5, trying to get this fork, winning more material. We are down about 3 minutes on the clock, but our position is quite a bit better. And it's really just going to be up to us to prove the advantage here. So when our opponent does that, let's maybe play rook to g8 to prepare these moves. Do we have g6 in h5? I don't see why not. Our opponent's playing this in quite a peculiar way. Okay, the bishop comes in, but that does just kind of block out your pieces from attacking us further. The king comes over. And I think here we just play rook c4 and rook to c8. And we may look to reroute this at some point. I don't think that does what he wants it to do. Let's play rook g to c8. Is he going to sacrifice on h5? Bishop comes in, which also looks like it just hangs this pawn. Now we might get into a little bit of a sticky situation where we have to, it almost looks like under promote. Or not under promote, but defend weirdly. I'm thinking rook to d3 here. That does not look good. If we go rook here, rook check. Yeah, I think this is going to be lights out for our opponents pretty quick. We have this fork, we have this fork. I think we go for taking as much material off as possible. And our opponent resigns. We gain 8 more points and we move up to 1825. So let's go ahead, let's look at the game review and see how we actually did. So, on today's date, we played with an 87.7 and our opponent played with a 78.7 and our opponent played with a 78.4. E4, C6, F4, and D5. And this is like a modified version of the Caro-Kann where sometimes people will play F4 as a means to open up the F file. But we know that knight H6 is typically one of the better moves in this position to reroute our knight over to F5. We brought our bishop out in development. D4, we just transposed. Now C5, my idea is it's kind of like a Botvinnik Karl setup. It does like just bringing the knight into the position and immediately putting pressure on the pawn, probably with queen b6, e6, and bishop out. However, we didn't do that. They played c3. We snapped the pawn off in the center. We play e6 to allow our dark square bishop to become active. Bishop to d3, knight to c6, bishop e3, bishop b4 check. And we were looking at this queen to b6 move to target the weak pawn. But a lot of times I just get very hesitant with bringing my queen out this early. Knight to c3, we go ahead and castle, and once again it wants us just to bring the knight back into the center and get it off of the square. Our opponent castles, and we can start to see where this open F file is going to create a little bit of havoc on our position. Knight to f5 takes, bishop takes, and that way we don't get this real ugly pawn structure with e captures f. h3, h6, and the idea was to bring the bishop back. Here it does say just snap off the knight. After pawn takes, you can probably play bishop to e4 if your opponent plays g4. But we didn't do that. Our opponent played knight to h2, which we thought was a little weird. A6, not our best move. We definitely should have considered this once again, and we just simply didn't find it. But after g4, queen to h4, which was kind of our tricky move, it looks like this is the winning. Oh, it's not the winning move in the position. In this position, what does white have to do to maintain the advantage? They have to play bishop to f2. Oh, and after bishop to f2, not only do we have a hanging queen, but we have a hanging bishop. So that's quite a creative move, and it shows danger levels as well. After bishop to f2, you have to play queen captures, and then you have g captures f5. And there's really no easy way to get out of the position. You probably have to play bishop captures c3, b captures c3, and queen captures c3 was my idea. But if we go back to the game review, our opponent plays queen to f3, which allows us to go ahead and take off the knight, bring the bishop into the position. And here, instead of trading, we get a little greedy. We take a free pawn. Knight to f3 just simply loses another pawn with queen captures g4 check. And after queen to g2, I guess it is better to take off the queen, but we take back with the bishop, take off the queens, and really start to bring our knight to a better position, because from c6, there is no good forward mobility for our knight to actually go. The best move is probably just to bring it back. The engine agrees. Our opponent gives us a free pawn. It's kind of hopeless here. But we got our king to safety. We tried to get our rooks active. And in this position, even though his bishop is quite strong, because we've created a lot of these, let's see, where is the button? We've created a bunch of these dark square weaknesses. We had enough time to play something like rook to c4, rook g to c8, and then taking off a free pawn. After our opponent went back, we go after this pawn. Now I thought that after king to g5, rook g3, rook g4, the other tempting move was just to immediately take this pawn with check, which the engine says is the best move. But instead, we played rook to c3. And after knight to g3, I wasn't as convinced, because after king to d2, I wasn't quite sure what to do. It looks like if I would have taken the knight, which was my first inclination, our opponent takes the rook. And then we just go ahead, come back into the position, and we're doing completely fine. Now the second idea I had here that was a little bit scary that we had to be careful of is after I took this pawn and with our opponent's bishop on this square, is I was looking at ideas like rook captures h5, and after g captures h5, rook captures h5. If you make the mistake of coming all the way back, you do blunder mate in one. So when I was talking about a defensive strategy, I was looking at king to g6, rook check, king over, and then there's no more good checks. The rook has to go back, and there actually looks like we could force the rooks off the board with rook to f3 takes, and we get into this position where this bishop is going to be pretty strong, but after something like rook to c4, it should still be a pretty easy win. So we're at 1825. We're on our way back up, and I want to thank everyone for all the support in the series. If you have comments on how I can improve or anything based on my play, go ahead and let me know in the comments. And go ahead, like, and subscribe. It does help to push this content out so more people can enjoy it. I will see you guys on day 27.